Хочешь ответить? Поднимай руку. А поэтому ротик у нас молчит. Ой, не вижу. Эйден, Итан, очень красивые волосы у Рианы, но, пожалуйста, не трогаем. Мальчики, девочки, у меня здесь нарисованы животные. Здесь нарисованы животные. Когда я хочу узнать название животных, кто мне скажет, какой вопрос?
Whenever a teacher does their lesson plans, it's not just planning the activities, the transitions, the brain breaks, the assessments, but also planning for how am I going to deliver that message? How am I going to provide the input? How am I going to teach this new vocabulary? How am I going to explain the activity to the students so they can understand it? I can't think about those things while I'm teaching. I have to think about those things in the planning process.
На зиму и очень много дождя.
Очень много. 再一次看，这是中国人说中文，非常好。这是
We don't have a mandate, but I've been very careful in encouraging the ACTful 90% plus. And so really encouraging teachers to focus on using the target language as much as possible.
But I think the 90% aren't nearly as important as the 10%. So if we start focusing on the 10% of the class, the time that we do have for English, and figure out what that is for and why we're using it, it won't seem as daunting as focusing on the 90%.
The teachers that I find to be the most successful in using the target language are those that just do it. And that's how they interact with their students in the hallway, in the cafeteria, even in the store.
Teachers that I enjoyed most, they kept the class in Russian.
Лили тоже хотела нам рассказать, что же у нас происходит осенью. Что же происходит осенью?
I always caution teachers to not say to the class, okay, I'm going to say this in English. This is really important, so you've got to listen carefully, and then I'm going to go back into the target language. Because by doing so, I think that tells the students, wow, we can tune our teacher out whenever they don't preface it with that statement.
Once students realize that you'll tell them what it means in English, they'll tune you out in the target language, so you've undercut yourself.
And if I would use English, that's where in their brain it kind of switches to like, oh, she can speak English.
You have to walk into it with the idea of, we're going to do this, and it may not always be pretty. It may get a little messy, a little chaotic, but if you'll stay with me, I'll get you through.
I think it's those teachers who aren't afraid of the kids, because we like to blame the kids for saying, well, they look at me really funny.
That first I was like very afraid that they won't understand me.
The teacher models the behaviors that we want students to model. So if we want students to not be afraid of making mistakes and to fail forward, then the teacher has to be okay with the fact that they might make mistakes in front of the class and own them.
Сколько всего? Всего у нас 7 дней недели. Но здесь у меня написана красная карточка. Итан, скажите, пожалуйста, Итан.
It's difficult, I know, but a lot of gestures.
She gives us like hand motions and stuff. So if we forget the word, we can remember it by the hand motion.
I make cards that have simple things that I've seen kids through the years saying, oh, my pencil is dull, may I have a sharp pencil? But I also make sure that when I talk to them, I have pictures around me, I have actions.
Having a mindset of, yes, I can make myself comprehensible, and here are my tools that I'm going to be using to help me. So be that pictures, be that technology, be that rephrasing, slowing down, speeding up, repeating.
星期二，不对，星期三，不对啊，星期四，对，今天来一起说，今天星期四。
Throughout the years, obviously, I've seen some teachers that do a really good job of making sure the classroom stays 100% in Russian, and others who are sort of more lax on that. And there's a noticeable difference.
Но давайте только вместе. И коко тоже, и коко. Подержите, пожалуйста, Карин. Потому что Коко сегодня так хорошо слушает Эйвери. Не надо трогать Урсулу, не надо.
The limited contact time that you have, you really should be using it all to make sure you're really learning the language. And when you have teachers that don't really care as much, you're spending that time talking in English anyway, you're not working on that vocabulary and you're not working on that use of the language.